All right, dude. Magic fingers. Let's go,
Let's
dude. We
do
just
it. Let's get it.
finished up playing against the Raptors, bro. As the game went on, the score opened up to pretty wide, but overall, I like what we saw. We got to see 4 quarters of fairly competitive play. The last half of the fourth quarter was really where the gas was opened up. But tell me what you liked about this game.
Yeah, man. I felt like we played a great defensive game in the beginning of the first 3 quarters of the game. We did a great job at staying ahead of our guys. We had a lot of different mismatch, defensive mismatches out there with Isaiah Joe being on Siakam a lot. But the reality is, this is what we need to do, especially in the West. We need to be able to fluctuate against different matchups because there are a lot of deep teams in the West. So this is just another opportunity for these guys to learn exactly what we need to do to step it up, especially in this month, March, and blah, 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 April as well, which is my birth month. I should know what month is next. So, but I do think this is an opportunity for these guys to really step up, and I'm excited about it. It's a loss, but it's a learning loss.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn from this type of situation against the Raptors, who have one of the best defensive coaches in the league. They came in and they wanted to take us out of the actions. They understand what happens when we get on a roll.
Hmm.
We have a few different opportunities at the same look. We're going to start attacking downhill. And so they wanted to notice when we were on a roll, give us a different defensive look. We saw plenty of different zones. We saw just all sorts of junk defenses, stuff that I even had trouble identifying. Some of their zones were so strict that you could notice them before we crossed half court, and some of them were just kind of muddled in there. So a lot of different things, and so what ended up happening was the shot clock would wear down, and then we'd be into like late possession opportunities, which is pretty ISO heavy. So that was the type of thing that we were seeing a lot. Then coming the fourth quarter, they really made a push when Shea was on the bench, and by the time Shea came back in, it was just a little bit too late. Not really like coach holding him back. Coach brought him back in pretty early for his own regular rotation. It's just like the Raptors had the seized the game at that point.
Yeah, it was like we ran out of runs. I talked about this being a game of runs, and it turned out to be they had more runs in them than we did, and that's okay. Like, you can't always have your cake and eat it. And tonight was one of those situations where, we played well in the first 3 quarters, but coming in the fourth quarter, Toronto put the gas on, and we couldn't do anything to stay up, and it was disappointing because I like our fourth quarter play. I like our second team getting out there, but for whatever reason, we had trouble executing on offense, especially in that fourth quarter. We made a lot of silly mistakes and turnovers. We gave up a lot of offensive boards. There was just so many mistakes done in that fourth quarter, and I felt like it was an incomplete game almost the way we played. Like, we played ISO ball, like Joseph said, more than we were focused on playing ISO ball, more than we were focused on playing team basketball. And these games happen like this, especially when you're going back to where guys grew up and watched games. They get really amped up and they want to do everything themselves, but that's okay because, again, this is a learning process, and watching this team, how they're learning through this is going to be the key. And I get excited about this because this is exactly where this team needs to be at and where they're going is the right opportunity for this team to shine. So sitting back and watching these, I would call adversity games. It's hard to watch, but there's so much to learn. You see so much. You see the heart. You see the passion, and you just got to stick with it sometimes.
Yeah, and for Shea, he put out 29 points, which we've come to expect from him. And then as far as like somebody that played better than expected was Trey Mann.
Hmm.
Him and Joe both had 12 points off the bench, but Trey Mann's had a lot more trouble getting those minutes. And then when he gets the minutes, finding a way to capitalize. He was really in sync today. He was attacking at the right moments. He had a step back working. He was doing things, getting to the hole. They went back to back on threes in the first half and cut a 10-point lead down to 4. We kind of got a taste of that potency from those two guys working together. Coach seemed to really want to run them out there together, which is a really good look for us. I feel like we're just starting to see that, though.
Yeah, and we had Lou Dort with 10. We had J Dub with 15. Josh Giddey with 13. And Jay Will with 5. So, again, these guys just really doing what it takes. Josh only had 1 assist. That's another thing I want to throw out there is for the night, we had 18 assists. It just wasn't enough. Like, again, sharing the ball has to happen. It has to be a priority for these guys. We got to lean on each other. We got to learn how to lean on each other in these moments where we're passing the ball around, looking for the open shot. And again, I appreciate where this team's going, and I think that this is a great learning opportunity to really trust coach in these situations. Understand that coach is calling these plays out and calling what to do because he sees it in a different way. And coach is incredibly intelligent. So, again, well coached game, just couldn't get it done in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. We saw Lindy Waters play for just a couple of minutes, but he was able to keep his hot streak going. He knocked down a couple of threes. So we're pumped up about it. Obviously, this is just one game. It's not the whole season. But let me tell you guys right now, if you want to hear how we feel like this team is better than everybody else thinks, Dave, tell them what they should do.
You click that button right